Everybody, tonight's homework is going to be a short story where either the fourth or fifth Chabad Rebbe, I don't remember which one, so it's either Rabbi Shalom Dovber or the Rebbe Maharash, which is Rav Shmuel. They had a mission, and their mission was, or his mission was, to go to one of the very large cities in Russia at the time and to make sure that they would get rid of one of the decrees they made against the Jewish people. Because back then they made so many evil decrees against the Jewish people that you had to constantly go and ask them to take them away, and sometimes they had to give them money, sometimes they had to go to court. Whatever it was, they had to get rid of these evil decrees. And it was his job to do it. Now, at the time, he was actually quite young. He was not like an old man. He was maybe like 20 years old, 25, maybe 30, but I think he was even younger than that. And he went to the city, and he was riding in a carriage at that time. At that time, they didn't really use cars yet. Cars were not a thing. So they were still using carriages, like a horse and buggy. And while they were going to the city, people in that city, Jewish people, heard the son of the Lubavitch Rebbe is coming. At the time, he wasn't the Rebbe. He was the son of the Lubavitch Rebbe, because his father was still alive. I believe the Tzemach Tzedek, Rav Menachem Mendel. So a whole bunch of people came to say hello. He was an important person. And people said, "Hey, how you doing? Hi, can I ask for this? Can I ask for that? Can I get you anything?" And one lady came there, and she said, "Hi, I would like to ask for a bracha. I'd like to ask for the most amazing bracha you could ask." She wanted to have children. She and her husband, unfortunately, had no children. And so she went to the Rebbe. At the time, he was not the Rebbe. And she says, "Please give me a bracha to have children." And he said, "Listen, I'm not the Rebbe. My father is the Rebbe, the Tzemach Tzedek. Please go to my father and ask him for a bracha. I can't give you a bracha." And as sad as it was, that was the reality, he said. Now, why did he not give her a bracha? So the story is shared, and it tells us he saw that in Shamayim, this woman had no children. She was not supposed to have children. For whatever reason, Hashem decided she will not have children, which was very, very, very sad. But that's what he saw. So he said, I can't give her a bracha to have children if that's not what his plans for her. A tzaddik can only give a bracha if that person has that bracha for them in Shamayim. If the bracha is not there in them for Shamayim, a tzaddik cannot give that bracha. So the Rebbe told her, and again, he wasn't the Rebbe yet, but we're going to call him Rav Shmuel. Rav Shmuel told her, "I'm sorry, I can't help you." And he said, if you want, you could go to my father. Now, Rav Shmuel went on his mission, and he went to the government building. And to make a very long story short, he went there, he took the papers, he spoke to the governor or the person in charge, and he told them, you have to get rid of the decree for one reason or another. And Baruch Hashem, they got rid of the decree. And the decree against the Jewish people was taken away. About a few minutes after he leaves the building, the lady comes and says, "Give me a bracha for children." And he says, "I'm sorry, I can't help you. I already told you could go to my father. I can't give you a bracha." And she says, "No, you have to give me a bracha." "I can't give you a bracha." Anyway, she was driving him crazy. Later that night, he went to his house, or he not his house, but his hotel that he was staying at, and he went to sleep. The next morning, he got up and he was going to go back to where he lived. He didn't live in that city. He lived in a different city. I believe he lived in the city of Lubavitch, but I might be wrong. Anyway, he gets in his carriage, and all of a sudden, the same lady says, "Rav Shmuel, give me a bracha." And he says, "I can't give you a bracha, lady." She says, "No, you have to give me a bracha. You're leaving the city. Please give me a bracha." And he says, "I'm so sorry, I can't give you a bracha." And she's asking and asking, and all of a sudden the carriage starts to move. He got in the carriage, he started going. So this lady took a stick, like a long wooden stick, like a branch or something, and she stuck it in between the wheels. Now, what's in between the wheels? That's called a spoke. It's like a wooden piece. But if you put a stick there and you try to spin that piece, it's going to crack in half and break. And if that breaks, the whole carriage is going to fall down and break, which is exactly what happened. And so the carriage fell down and broke. And the Rebbe Maharash, or Rav Shmuel, got out. He was very upset. And he said, "Excuse me? What are you doing? You just broke my carriage. I'm in a rush. I need to get back." I have important stuff I need to take care of. And she says, please give me a bracha for a baby. And Rav Shmuel was so frustrated at this point, he told the lady, Gay essen a bagel, which in Yiddish means, go eat a bagel. It's like saying to somebody today, go jump in a lake. Leave me alone. So Rav Shmuel said to her, go eat a bagel. In other words, telling her, please leave me alone. And the lady all of a sudden looked at him, smiled, and turned around and walked away. And Shmuel said, okay, I guess it worked. So what does he do? He quickly gets the carriage repaired, and he goes back home. And he goes to report to his father, the Tzemach Tzedek, I got the carriage fixed. I got the decree taken away. And his father's very happy, but his father at the time was very old. His father was probably about 65 years old, maybe a little older. And his father, unfortunately, was only going to live for about another year. And at the end of that year, the Tzemach Tzedek, the third Chabad Rebbe, the Rebbe in white clothing, he's holding a Sidur in the picture, he passes away. And his son, Rav Shmuel, becomes the Rebbe. He becomes the new Rebbe after his father. And a few days, maybe a couple weeks after he becomes Rebbe, a man walks into his shul, the shul that he sit and learn, and walks up to him and brings him 2 big cakes. And he says, how can I help you, sir? I didn't order any cakes. And the man says, no. These 2 cakes, they're a gift. A gift? For what? And the man says, you gave a bracha to me and my wife. And the Rebbe Maharash of Shmuel answers to him, I'm so sorry. I never met you in my life before. I don't know if I ever gave you a bracha. He says, no, you absolutely did. And he asks, what was the bracha for? And the man says, you gave my wife a bracha for children. And he starts scratching his head. For children? I don't remember giving a bracha to anybody for children. Where do you live again? And he says, I live in Petersburg. And he thinks for a second. The Rebbe Maharash says, I haven't been in Petersburg for more than a year. Who's your wife? And the man says, my wife was the lady driving you crazy for a bracha for children. And he says, that's your wife? He says, yeah, that's my wife. And the Rebbe Maharash asks him, so what happened? She says, we had children, not just one, we had twins. And the man says, the Rebbe asks him, you had twins? And the man says, yeah. So the Rebbe asks with details, because the Rebbe never gave her a bracha. So the Rebbe asks her, what exactly happened? So the man says, my wife came home, and she said to me, we have to make 2 bagels. And I asked my wife, why do we need to make 2 bagels? And she said, the Rebbe told me we have to make a bagel. And it was a little strange, but I listened to my wife. So we made 2 bagels. So the Rebbe Maharash says, I told her to go eat a bagel. I didn't say she had to go make 2 bagels. And I was really just telling her to leave me alone, to go away. But the man says, no, my wife thought that's what you were telling her to do. And that's how she's going to have children. And so she had children. And she didn't have one, she had 2 children because she ate 2 bagels. And the Rebbe Maharash was so amazed by this. He says, your wife was not supposed to have children for whatever reason Hashem decided. But because she had such strong emunah Hashem and the emunah in the words of a tzaddik, she was given the bracha of children, not just 1 but 2. Boys, the lesson we learn from this is emunah Hashem, belief in Hashem and trust in Hashem, and bitachon in Hashem, that we say, Hashem, you're going to help me, I know you're going to help me. And belief in our tzaddikim and our rabbeim is an incredibly powerful thing that we have. And that we could change our reality and our world by the belief in our tzaddikim and belief in Hashem. With that, have a good night. I know it's a long story tonight. I didn't realize it was going to be this long. Enjoy the story. If you want to get the 3 points, leave a comment or bring a note that you did it. Wonderful day, everyone.